Welcome back to the Ride and Laugh podcast. If you love mountain biking, you are in the right place. Picture your last really fun group ride. You're back at the parking lot. The Stoke is high. Everyone's talking about bikes, tech, nutrition, progression. You love bikes. We love bikes. Let's drop in. Sage, how are you today?
I got to tell you, Danny, that opening, you know what? It's like, I am going through my head and I'm like, yeah, I do picture that last group ride and it was awesome. And that's what this podcast is all about. Buddy, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Do you listen to the music on a little loop just to get yourself fired up?
Right, yeah. I feel it, brother. I feel it.
Yeah. Just for all of our podcast listeners who are not on the YouTube, I was just headbanging to the music that I was singing. So,
oh yeah,
pretty good content.
You're missing out.
I mean, you're missing out. You're missing out if you're not viewing Dan and Sage live. Well, not live.
Yes.
What would you call this?
Yeah, it's not live. Yeah,
it's not live. It's not live. People are like, "What? This is live? It's always on exactly when I want it to be." That's exactly. It's on demand. It's on demand.
Oh, there you go. Nailed it, brother. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, man. We're having a really nice spring in Arizona. I'm loving life. I got out for rides with Joe and Jeff this week, and I got to one of the bike parks, the most local bike park here, which is 4 hours away. It's called Sunrise. I'll tell you more about that. But yes. It's been good. And then I look at your Strava and it looks like more rain and more cold. Yeah. The universe is like, yeah, dude, you're in the wrong place.
I don't know if anyone else can relate to this, but like, I don't mind like riding and then it starts to rain, but like I cannot get started if it's already actively raining. And I got to tell you, like recently I've just been like, I think I should get a trainer. Like I have not been able to ride the bike. It's horrendous.
By a trainer, you mean an indoor bike trainer?
Yes. I'm sorry. A stationary bike. Yes. Yes.
Yeah. That could be a little misleading. Yeah. People might just think that you're, going to be lifting weights more, which you could do. Yeah.
Also, yes. Yeah.
I don't want to ride in the rain. There's like no rain in Arizona, so that's very, very unlikely to happen. But certainly I spent most of my life in the Northeast, and when the weather's already bad, it's one thing to get caught in it and just be like, okay, I'll just finish my ride and I'll sprint back, or, but to actually go out in the rain to train. I mean, listeners, let us know if you live in the Pacific Northwest and it's just raining all the time. Are you just going out and just being like, okay, I'm expecting to get rained on, or I'm starting in the rain? And I know they like some places in the world, they're just wearing good waterproof rain gear all the time. And it's just the way it is.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could deal with that.
The UK.
But then again, the UK. Yeah. But some of those trails look awesome. So I guess you just adjust to whatever it is. Right.
You know what? I am jealous of their skills in adverse conditions. Like you like if you're watching any of these like downhill races, like the UCI downhill races, the Red Bull, whatever, the guys and gals that train in that wet, not great conditions always do amazing, just because they're used to all the slippage and still going fast. And it's like, if you're training in that stuff, like, and then the conditions are optimal, like you're just like fully charged and just like ready to go. It's like, holy crap.
Yeah, that's very true. That's very true. And sometimes I know when I was riding in the Northeast, it would be a little bit wet and the roots would get a little bit slippery, or the dirt would be hooking up the same way. Maybe it's a little muddy. And I would just think about some of the videos I watch of these amazing riders doing incredible things in places like the Pacific Northwest, where it's all wood features. And, and I'm just like, okay, this is possible. This is possible.
Yeah.
So like, stop overthinking it, feel the balance, and start to, and have fun. I mean, that's what we're out there for. Easier said than done. I never, you know me, I don't like riding in adverse conditions. The fact that I just happened to, we moved to Arizona because my wife really loves it here, and many things lined up for us to move here. But the fact that I moved to a place where the conditions are the same, they're not always perfect. It can be sandy and kitty litter, but they're the same.
Yeah.
You get to know what the conditions are going to be like almost every single ride. It really works out nicely for me because I'm kind of a static guy like that.
Yeah, well, you got dust to contend with, Like you might not get the wet weather, but like it is dusty out where you are.
Well, I don't think it's dusty in the valley. It was dusty at sunrise. And you just watched all that video. That was crazy dusty.
That place was dusty as hell, man. Unbelievable.
Oh, yeah. And I'm sure it's just like one good rainfall and it would tamp it down, but it was so dusty. Like if you were behind a rider, you had to be right on their wheel or way back. Otherwise, there was just like anytime that the sun would hit at certain spots and it was just blinding.
Yeah.
It's kind of like losing traction for a second. And I think that's probably part of the reason that those riders that train in the wet are so good is because they get comfortable with the uncomfortable. They get comfortable with being out of control. They understand, and this is something that you're really good at. You understand that when your tire starts to slip, it's going to hook up. And so you trust it.
Yeah.
And so when you go through a dusty, when I was riding behind Arturo and some of the guys, that I went to Sunrise with, and it was crazy dusty and it was crazy technical and crazy fast. I could just make out where his bike was, it's just trusting, okay, my body's going to know what to do. And then, as soon as the sun glare got off of the dust, you could see again. But it is disconcerting. But it's probably also, if you train like that, become a better rider.
So, I mean, we're talking about it. Let's talk about it. How was the bike park? I mean, this is your first bike park in Arizona.
Yeah. It was opening day, and we had an absolutely great crew. It was really, 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 really fun group of guys. And it's not a bike park like anything I've ever been to, where you had these like big groomed, manicured flow trails that you and I like to hit at the bike park and hit jumps.
Yeah.
It's not like that at all. It's pretty much take a chairlift to the top of this mountain, and then we've cut single track tech all throughout the mountain. And there's very, very little building as far as like wooden features. There's like there's one jump line. It's relatively small. There's a few like scattered man-made jumps throughout. There's a lot of like little hip jumps that they just kind of like turned a rock into a little bit of a hip here and a little bit of a jump there. And, but it's not manicured at all. It's not what I think of when I think of a bike park.
Is it woods? Is it desert? Like what are we talking about? You're in Arizona. Like I think most people think of desert when they think of Arizona.
Good point. You're in the mountains, so it's dirt and trees. It was nice to see dirt and trees and grass and a lot of pine trees, that sort of thing. Once we got once we got warmed up and started riding some of the Black Diamond technical trails, so I thought it started to get fun. I didn't think the flow trails there were all that much fun. They're pretty gnarly for a flow trail. Like if you get offline, they're bumpy, and if you get offline, there's like piles of rocks, like in places where you don't want them. So and that's look, if you're a beginner rider, there are green trails there, and you can definitely get down them. It'll make you a better rider. But it's not the flow trails that we think of when we think of bike parks, like those really wide, just well groomed, manicured trails with jumps and berms, and it's not really like that. At least I didn't think it was. I started to have fun when we started to hit some of the Black Diamond tech downhills, and then Arturo showed up, and Arturo is a super high level rider.
Yeah.
So I was really excited, and he's just a lovely person, So we immediately, like, he's done all the double black tech trails there. He's done races there. He knows the trails really well. He's got like your kind of trail memory. He knew where like some of the features that we should look at are, and so we started doing some of the double black tech. I mean, it's a workout. It's exhausting doing tech all day, but it was surprisingly fun. I enjoyed it.
So, I mean, when I think of like Mountain Creek or Blue Mountain, I think, one of the things, yes, we have those manicured trails where they're actually machining the trails. But the other thing that stands out to me are features like tabletops. Sometimes you have gaps, but even like wooden ramps and wooden drops, none of that.
Nothing like that.
Unbelievable.
There's a couple of drops, but they're just where rocks happen to be. It's very, very raw.
It's natural.
Very raw.
Yeah.
It's really steep in spots. Like I can't express how steep it is. It was nice riding steep dirt. I've been riding steep rock and slab so much. You know what I mean? Like the dirt like kind of changes a little bit how you ride those things. It's a little bit more forgiving, but it also kind of moves under you. So that mantra I was talking about last week of keep the wheels turning, keep them rolling. Yeah. Staying centered. The Firebird was absolutely the right bike. Like having a big travel bike to do this double black diamond tech, and some of the lines said that they were pro lines. Like that was absolutely. I'm so glad I had a big travel bike. I will say the next ride I did, I took the bike off of the car and I started to pedal around, and I noticed that the rear shock was in the locked position. This is right after the bike park.
Danny. Oh gosh.
So
you were riding it locked out?
I don't know. It got loaded into the truck. Like maybe it got moved. It's a coil, so it doesn't lock out the same way. But I mean, it felt great at the park. And I'm just like, wow, maybe it could feel even better.
Yeah. Wow. Well, I hope you didn't damage it. Sometimes when you ride those shocks in the lock position, it destroys the damper or whatever it is that keeps
that would have
fluid
happened
from back through.
If that's a possibility, if riding locked out could damage a shock, that would have happened at that place. I mean, the hits were huge. There was no like design drops, but there was just so many just like pedal kick drops where you could maybe roll it, but like it was like tech, and then you get down to a little shelf, and then there was like a big root or a big rock, and you would just like kind of like pedal kick off it, and like that would be like 3 or 4 in a row. You just like bam, bam, bam. Yeah. It really makes you focus. It really makes you be grounded and centered and in the moment and trusting your bike and trusting your skills and trusting your form. And that's mountain biking. Like that's what we love about mountain biking, is that getting into that flow state, and getting in the flow when you're riding gnarly tech is kind of a different feeling than getting into flow when you're doing jumps and railing berms. It's just a different thing, but it was fun. It was cool.
Well, you and I are on 2 different trajectories, because all I've been doing lately is jumping. It's like
I know.
I'm getting back-to-back days at the PhxvBP Bike Park. I'm going to Mount Penn, and it's just and I'm hoping to get to Blue Mountain soon. But yeah, I've just been on a jump kick, and man, so you didn't miss jumping at all, huh?
Totally missed it. My first like 2 runs down the mountain, I was like, this place sucks. Like I had this, this is the jump line and this is flow. Like what? You know what I mean? Like, I was super disappointed. And then, eventually you just let go of it and like, okay, what's here? Yeah. You know what I mean? This is 4 hours. It's 4 hours away. It's the closest. It's the only one in Arizona. This is what we got. And and like I said, I was there with a great crew of guys. And just like the vibe was high, everyone was enjoying it, everyone knew what it was, and so just surrender to what it is. Is this my preference for a bike park? No, it's not. But apparently, they've been building a lot more trails the past couple of years there, and then everyone's been talking about Big Bear. I think it's called Big Bear in California, Southern California, and so that's about a 6-hour drive, and supposedly that's like awesome jump lines, like that's. And I watched some videos of, super, super long, legitimate mountain bike jump lines and berms and the drops and the features and everything like that. So, I'd love to plan a trip out there. But, while we have this perfect weather, we don't necessarily have the perfect bike park terrain. And things are a little bit further away, So you definitely have an advantage there. I've been jealous of all the jump training you're getting in. Even when I go to desert trails, if I hit the intermediate line, at most I'm getting 2 jumps. Usually I'm getting 1 or none. You know what I mean? Like you go to Phoenixville, you get 5 jumps per run, and you're putting in like 5,000 feet there now, and you got the dirt jumper and the fat bike, and like you're totally progressing on that stuff. How you feeling?
The 2 days in a row made a huge difference. That first day, I didn't actually feel that great on the DJ. I felt awesome on the fat bike, but I got on the DJ and it was like, and then the next day, like I didn't want to give the DJ up. Like it felt so much better. And of course, I'm with Keaton. And Keaton is he's one of the builders that Sean works with, and he is a fantastic rider. That dude just inspires. He's in front of me and I'm just like, I want to do that, and next thing you know, you're starting to introduce some stuff, and it just feels better and better. Riding with people that are better than you, it has an effect. I mean, it can also have the adverse effect too. Like I've gotten into that situation where I'm riding with someone that's way better than me, and it actually makes me ride worse. But Keaton's personality is also very chill.
Oh, Key's an awesome dude. He's an awesome young man. So chill. So yeah, he's just like he's so friendly. He's so nice, and he's so good.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember him like getting significant air on my backyard pump track on things that I could not get both wheels off the ground. I mean, just like effortlessly, like body, and he. I remember him showing me videos of like the jumps he had built in his backyard and the little track that he was running with his friends in his backyard. And of course, he works with Sean, and he absolutely just loves biking. He's super passionate about it, and he's a young dude, and he's talented, and that's really cool that you got to meet him and ride with him. So you're still driving that big giant truck, biggest truck I've ever seen in my life.
It really was. It's so cool, man. No, he had like a tiny little sports car, man. This guy's got it all. It's like the bachelor life.
He's living the life. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Go for it, Kate. All right. So what do you think it is if you're riding behind, what is the feeling if you're riding behind someone who is a better rider that you start to ride worse? What is that about?
Well, first of all, it really depends a lot on that person's personality. That's number one. You know, do you jive with that person? You know, are you vibing? Are you on the same vibe? You know, because a lot of times if you're not vibing with someone, then that's the first issue, whether they're better or worse, it doesn't matter. Personality makes a huge difference. Two, if they're so good that you can't even relate in any level, not only can you not relate, but you can't even see them in your sights, then what's the point, right? If we're on a downhill line and you can only see them for the first 2 minutes because they're so damn fast that you're basically riding the trail blind, then what's the point, right? You know, so it's like it's a multiple of factors, and again, you got to be present, you know, and you get into a situation like that, you're like, okay, just let it go and ride your ride, but it can wear on you. It can easily wear on you. You can start to get those, you know, thoughts in your head like, man, I'm just not that good, or I'm not going to get better, or this guy or girl is so much faster than me. You know, those silly thoughts that pop into your head.
Yeah. And you know what, when you were saying that, I have certainly have felt that way myself, mainly when I'm following you, because, you know, you said like personality matters the most. No. So I'm like, geez, this guy. No, I have felt that way. And I think what it comes down to is, does the rider in front of you, does the better rider make you feel like it's okay? Is there that inclusiveness? Like, no, it's cool, dude. You know, like even if they're way in front of you. I mean, I've been dropped so many times out here in Arizona by, especially when I'm out on South Mountain, you know, but even the guys that ride halls all the time that know the lines out there, and, you know, I'm riding with good riders, and I'm dropped all the time where I'm just not as confident on some of these downhills, especially like following Joe down National Trail or even Jeff. But Joe down National Trails, it's ridiculous. He's so fast. But then when I catch up, you know, like I don't feel like I'm holding him back.
Right.
He doesn't make me feel, obviously I am. You know what I mean? Like we went out, Joe and I went out and did a 2-hour ride. And afterwards we were talking about it, and he was talking about how cool it is that he can do that ride in an hour, 15 minutes. And I was like, wait, what was that? Yeah. The 2-hour ride we just did, you do it in an hour and 15 minutes? Like, I held you up 45 minutes. So now we were stopping and talking, you know what I mean? Like it wasn't, you know, but his solo ride, when he pushes it, like, you know, he's blazingly fast.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I think it's just like you said, that personality, like that inclusiveness, like yeah, no, we're in this ride together, and you're not holding me back. I prefer the company over the speed.
Yeah. It's also situational too, right? It's different when you are not signed up, but when you like agree to ride as a group versus you see somebody on the trail, like we saw those action guys when we're at the Haws.
Yeah.
You know, if they were like, do you want to follow us? And we couldn't hold their wheel, that's different, right? It's like, okay, we weren't meant to be on that ride versus you agree to like go on a ride, you meet up with people and they are just way better than you. That the expectation in your head might have been like, oh, we're all going to ride together and I'm going to learn so much. And when that doesn't happen, you can easily get into your head. I've had that happen. Not so much recently, but you know, when I was younger and not as, you know, versed on the downhills, I've had that happen, and you just get in your head a little bit. You know, it sucks.
How have you been on the other side? Have you been on a ride where you're like, oh man, like I really
No,
wanted to have this ride happen, and because I'm with these people and I thought they were going to be a little bit faster, my ride isn't happening and I'm a little bit frustrated?
no, I'm ultra sensitive, ultra compassionate. I don't know what the word is that I'm looking for, but like if I
He's a
notice
gentle
that
lover.
like
You're a gentle lover, I think is what you're trying
I'm
to say.
no.
Ultra compassionate. There's our thumbnail right there, everybody. Ultra compassionate. Yes. That's
But like
your
for
dating
me, like
profile.
ultra
You've met compassionate men before. You never met an ultra compassionate man. Yeah. He's one of
hey,
one. One of one. Yes.
101. Yeah.
And then you look,
No, but like
you scroll down and the next guy says mega compassionate. You're like, damn.
God damn it.
Everybody's got to be super compassionate. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Continue.
Yeah.
Sorry.
When I go on those group rides, like, you and I had talked about this before. When I'm on my weekday rides and I'm on those solo rides, those are my fitness rides. Those are the rides where I'm hammering out, those are very focused. When I go on a weekend ride, it's all about making sure that I'm having fun, but everyone else is having fun too. So if I sign up for a group ride, I'm there to ride with a group. It's not fun for me to just like bolt somewhere down and just be like waiting around. Like I'd rather ride with everybody. And if someone's struggling on a spot and I can help them get over a feature, or Dane's runs is a great example, right? Dane's run at Mount Penn has this like 3-foot drop, and it's like, I'd rather like wait at a spot, make sure we can all get together, say, hey, is anyone uncomfortable with this? And then let's walk through it. And make sure that everyone can get that line versus just like, yo, I'm gonna hit Dane's run. I'll see you at the bottom. Like,
no, that's definitely not your personality. I think we'd have to go back in time quite a bit for either of us to identify with the jerk in front of us, who makes you feel badly because you can't keep up. I have been that jerk. I'm not gonna. I can't lie. Nowadays, I definitely surrender to this is the ride that I'm having. This is the ride I'm meant to have.
Yeah.
And we love connecting and helping and doing all those sorts of things for different riders and that's part of mountain biking, and I think that's part of the way mountain biking has evolved and part of what we love about mountain biking for sure. So I've let all that stuff go, but there was definitely a time in my life when especially if I only had a ride or two that week, or when my kids were real young, I only had one ride, and I'd be out and I wanted the ride to look this way, and then it's not because someone's having like 3 mechanicals and their bike's not ready, and and I'm getting frustrated, or someone hasn't ridden in a month, or they were just like they had diarrhea yesterday and they decided to come anyway, and they can't keep up. God. And if you're listening, who I'm talking about. It's you. No, like 7 or 8 people are like, how did he remember that? But just letting it go and going with the flow is, it goes with everything. It goes and having fun and connecting. To me, the connecting with people and being out with other riders, a solo ride's fun, but being out with other people is just something. There's something special about mountain biking in a group, or just with another friend.
We just talked about like kind of the responsibilities of a lead rider, but what's the responsibilities of someone that's following? What are some of the traits that are good to have if you're the person that is not as talented as the rest of the people in the group? And I could think of like one right at the top of the head to get this conversation moving, but like the no excuses attitude is something that I look for and I find very attractive in a rider, and if you're someone that is maybe not as fit or not as versed on a drop or a jump, don't think excuses. Like that's the worst. When you ride with somebody and it's like constantly making excuses, like that's not helpful. First of all, it's not a very good vibe to have anyway, but like if you know that you're struggling somewhere, if I see that you're trying, like that's all I need to see. Like you're motivated, you're trying. That's good enough. I don't need you to do everything. Like, but have a good attitude. I think that's maybe that's where I'm not the excuses, just have a good attitude, a good positive attitude. It makes up for a lot. It really does.
Yeah, keep the positive self-talk going. And
Yeah.
so I think a lot of times what we fall into this self-depreciation, what's the word?
Deprecating,
Self-depreciating,
self-deprecating.
self-deprecating. Thank you. Okay, edit that out. Okay, a lot of times we fall into the self-deprecating talk, especially when there's someone that
Yeah.
we can't keep up with, or that we feel like we can't keep up with, and that is better on the bike. But we have to you have to remember that we are all inherently worthy of all good things.
Yeah.
And how you perform on the bike or at anything in your life doesn't really matter. You're worthy. You are worthy of feeling good. And so keep the vibe high, keep your self-talk high. And when you stop and you catch up, and if that other rider is giving you their time and giving you their patience and giving you their lessons and giving you tips and giving you their vibe, then accept that. Open to receive, accept that.
Yes.
When we come back
Yes.
and we're just like, oh, I'm too slow, or I'm holding you up, or I'm doing, like you can feel it out a little bit. Like, as this person just like, does this person need to separate? But once they're in, once you know that they're in, then just go with it and allow and receive. You're getting that. That's the ride you're meant to have.
Yeah. 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 What about you? Is there a personality trait or something that you could do if you're the one that's, you just mentioned you're riding with Joe. Joe's way faster. What are the things that you're giving to Joe, that he's getting out of this?
I will mention positive feedback. First of all, like, I'm really impressed. I saw that you gapped that rock, and then he'll tell me
Love
about
that.
how, he's like, yeah, there's actually not a big launch point right there, but if you hit it with enough speed, it actually sends really nicely. And then I'm going to keep that in my brain for when I'm ready to start gapping that rock.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I see him get on the gas at certain spots and hit turns in certain ways. And so I'll compliment it. That was awesome the way that you did that. Or I can't even keep up. But what I got to see was it looked like you were just like floating down the trail. And there was this one section where you did this, and then he'll give me feedback on that. That's actually not as hard as you think. Or, oh, that took me a really long time. Oh, today was the first time I did that. Whatever it may be. It's, so just kind of like paying attention and then giving feedback, and then see what you get back.
Yeah.
Because I feel like riding with better riders only makes me better. I mean, we talked about that a lot, because I'm having that happen a lot.
Yeah.
I'm riding with really good riders out here, and it's making me better, and I'm grateful for it.
Yeah. Flattery will get you everything for sure. Yeah. It feels good to receive it too. Yeah. It's like, oh yeah, thank you. Notice that,
Yeah. He's like, oh, maybe it was worthwhile wasting 45 minutes of my day to have this guy follow me. He's like, look, you got to keep the compliments coming. I mean, we're way behind schedule.
Yes. Yeah.
Make it worth their time. Make it worth their time.
Yes. That's right. That's right. And at the very end of the day, I think we talked about this, about feeling out the group. If you are really holding up the group, or you notice that you're not up to par in terms of just like what this trail demands in terms of skill level, like this is way over my head, be conscious of that and pull out. Say, hey guys, you know what? I really appreciate this. I'm going to step off. I'm going to do my own things. Take out your trail forks and do your own ride. Just be cognizant of where you're at, what your skill set is at, where their skill set is at, and what the trail demands. And just be honest with yourself, because you'll get another opportunity. You'll get another opportunity. And the worst thing that you can do is go in over your head, and now you're getting hurt, or you get a mechanical, so you do something stupid. And I don't like that word stupid, but like you do something wrong, and now they have to care for you. Right. It's like, oh, now we gotta walk Dan down the hill, or we gotta get a car to pick up, Dan, because his bike broke, or he got hurt or something like that. That's the worst situation. You just took a situation that was kind of bad and made it like mega bad, ultra bad. So
ultra bad. Yeah.
Little callback.
I've heard lots of stories like that, and getting hurt. And that's the last thing you want. When you're following someone who's a stronger rider, or more confident, or more skilled, or maybe just more local, they just know the lines better.
Yeah. When
you're following them and you're getting into that, you're getting more into the flow state, you'll know that, like, oh, this is raising my game. I think I can now. I'm comfortable just following Arturo down some of these double blacks. I'm hitting them blind. It's a blind follow because I'm just following him, but I've never been on these trails before. And
Yeah.
he's starting to get a feeling for what I need to stop and look at and what I can just roll through. And so like I'm getting comfortable now just following Arturo's line. And some of his lines were crazy and gnarly. And, I'm buzzing my butt on my rear tire. It was so steep.
Yeah.
But I trusted it. And it raised my level of riding. There's no way I would have done some of those lines blind or at that speed without following someone who I trust is a good rider and is leading me into a good line. And so you'll know the difference when you're on someone and they're raising your game versus when that person's way ahead of you and you're not getting anything out of it. You'll know the difference when it's time to, to take the ride around because, or say, this person's leveling me up. I'm feeling more confident. I'm thinking about you following Justin at 50-year trail. You were flying through those slabs that you had only been on once before, but you were following someone that you trusted him. You were going so fast.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, since you brought it there, what are some things that we can do to know that you can trust someone? Justin was a great example, right? We've never ridden with Justin. We just ran into him on the trail. How was I able to almost immediately just trust this guy? The things that I look for is how he's taking turns, how he's taking different features on the trail. Is he calling out stuff? Like, when we first started riding, I noticed he wasn't calling out drops, and so it was like, okay, is this something that I need to be aware of? It's not a fault of Justin. I've noticed that some stuff like that happen here in PA. Some people call out low branches, other people don't. And you learn the hard way, but it's like, okay, now that's in the mental bank. This person doesn't call out low, so you got to be aware. It's not a fault of anybody. It's just you're catching personality traits. So these are things that I'm picking up about Justin. So I'm noticing, okay, so how is he turning? How is he hitting these jumps? What's he calling out? All of these things. And I'm just really, as we're riding with Justin, I'm really impressed with his lines. Like first of all, he's hitting all these like alternate features. And when we stop, he's giving me a little bit of a heads up. Which is awesome. That's by the way, that's a mark of a good leader. When everyone's stopped and you get the whole group back together, you get that accordion, right? So it's like everyone stops and that accordion comes in and he turns around. He's like, listen, the next part has a gap to this, watch out for this rock thing that sticks up. And that's the mark of a good leader. So it's like, okay, this guy is already thinking about the rest of the guys in the group. And so that to me is like, okay, I can trust this guy. He's looking out for my best interests. And I think that Justin also felt a trust in us too, and that's a whole nother time. And maybe you could speak to that. Like, what are the things if you're doing a ride, what are you looking for in the group so that you can trust the group that's behind you?
Oh, that's an interesting point. And we talked about that on that ride that I think Justin, he didn't intend to stick with us as long as he did. But after he started to see our skill level and our excitement and our gratitude to him for showing us those gem trails, that gem slabs that we had never seen before, like, talk about flattery. We were all piling it on, but completely authentically, not in a fake way at all. Like, whoa, dude, we wouldn't have found this without you. That was awesome. And what else? This is the rest of the ride we're planning. What do you recommend? He's like, well, I'll just show you. Because he's starting to have fun. He's starting to get our vibe. I did think of when you were talking about the accordion, and everyone catches up and there's the one guy who knows the trail and he's giving tips and he's telling about features. Have you ever been in the back of that accordion where like, you know what I mean? Or just in the back of the group, you know what I mean? Like you can hear that like there's tips being given out. You can hear that like he's like, but you can't really make out exactly. Like there's a really big drop coming up and it's right after this, and then you're like, what is that? What's it coming up? What happened? What did he say? So yeah, that's always a little bit. And then the ride just starts again and you're like, damn, like I know there was gems being given out here. I know there was tips being given out. I completely missed them. You just got to go with the flow. When you're the leader, then you're getting a feel for how far behind is everybody when I stop.
Yes.
Do I have two riders on me? If you have a group of 5 people, I have 2 riders that are right on me that are really enjoying this speed, but there's, another 2 or 3 people that are like way back or that are, when you turn around, they're walking down the feature. So do you change the ride so that, the 2 people behind you that are really stoked can enjoy what you're showing, or do you change the ride so that, the weakest link in the chain has fun as well? That's kind of a difficult situation when you have different groups of a skill level there. And hopefully when people go to a place to ride a blue trail, they're blue level or above. A black trail, they're black. You know what I mean? Double black, they're double black or above. But it does happen where you have someone that's not really ready for that trail. And that's a difficult situation.
I think that's situational, right? Like for Justin, like, he had no obligation to us. So for him, he shouldn't be catering the ride to the weakest link. Now, if you pay for a tour, like you're getting a tour from somebody, or you agree to lead a group, whether you're getting paid or not, well, then you should think about the weakest link, and you should try and make sure that everyone's having fun. But someone like Justin, who we just met on the trail, he doesn't have to cater anything. Like, it's like, you're doing this ride. You can either hang or you can't. And the question is like, okay, how does he feel about the group? And I think what we did, number one, you said it right. We complimented him, and you flattery and all this stuff. But the other thing that we showed him was determination and grit. Like, even the features that we didn't get, a lot of the boys went back to try and hit it. Like, oh, I didn't know this was a slab, or I totally missed that, because it was kind of an accordion. And like, as a leader, when I turn around and see that, it's like, okay, these guys and gals, they want to do this stuff. They're really enjoying this, and we're not, we talked about complaining. No one's complaining. They're genuinely jazzed about hitting this. Again, bringing that group vibe up. That as a leader, that's something that I look for when I'm leading a group. Is everyone on board? Is everyone giving their all? Or are there people that are just like, I don't know. So yeah, that was a great ride, by the way. Justin was unbelievable. That guy, holy crap.
That was so cool. It was so much fun. There were some really big features in there, things that we hadn't seen before, or only once before, because we had only been there once before. But a 50-year trail in Tucson it's a really, really cool place. Talk about slabs and rocks and tech. I mean, that place just has it all. It just has it in spades. You're talking about the vibe of the group, and I think just anything that we can do when we're on the bike and in life to have that little bit of higher vibe. What's the best that can happen? Everything from the situation is going to lead to something good. Just keeping everything like on the positive. And it doesn't mean that you're lying to yourself and you're doing these positive affirmations that you don't believe.
Right.
It means that you're actively just looking for how things are going to work out for you for the best. And so if you find yourself being the weak link on that ride and the ride leader, and you're hiking down things, just like, okay, what can I look to appreciate out of this? That there's more on this trail that I could do that I didn't know, whatever that may be. Or I'm not ready for this trail yet. Now I know. I want to practice this other stuff first. Or maybe a couple features you start to get. Oh, I think I could do this. I think I could do this. Maybe not today, but I think I could do this. Look for things to appreciate. And then if people are waiting for you, if they are helping you, then just gratitude. That's awesome. That's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. There's the rider that you are, and there's the rider that you want to be. And one doesn't equal the other. Just because you're at a certain level now doesn't mean that you can't take a step to get to that next level, to be the rider that you want to be. So don't be hard on yourself because you couldn't do this at this moment, at that time, with that person on that day. Grace for yourself, because at some point you are going to get to that level where you are that rider. You're going to visualize that. You're going to feel good about that. Grace for yourself. We've all been on that kind of a ride. We've all been on that kind of ride, and everyone hits something. Happened to me at hardline for different reasons, but like, everyone's doing the hardline, and I couldn't, and I didn't, and I'm glad I didn't. Grace for ourselves. I know I can do that. It's the rider that I want to be. I can do that later. I'm going to come back and get it. Let it go.
You're not who you think you are. You're better. The rider who you want to be is in there. The skills are in there.
That's right.
It's all ready. It's going to come out at perfect timing. If it's something that it's your intention and you're putting out into the universe, this is the ride I want to be able to do. I want to be able to jump. I mean, look at Sage and my jump journey. It's crazy, especially Sage's jump journey. But my riding out here in Arizona, like, I'm such a better rider than I was when I moved out here. And it's all just being open to receive, riding harder trails, riding with better riders, just talking to you. podcast, listeners say, hey, keep your chin over the handlebars, stay centered, don't go so far back, advice, being open. It's all there for us. So what listener, whatever rider you want to be, it's in there. It's happening. It's going to happen. Just go out and ride your best ride on that day. Have the ride that you're meant to have. Don't put any expectations on it. Go with the flow. It's happening. You got it. Mountain biking is the best.
Well, if anyone had expectations of us getting to the comments very early, we hit a new record today. It's
no expectations.
45 minutes in.
Yeah.
No, we haven't even got to a single comment.
Yeah. Yeah. We got a whole new format. Joe knows about this format. It's a lot of Dan talking and not writing. Joe's like, yeah, I'm very aware of the format. It's very Dan talking every time we stop. Yeah. Asking me about all these jumps I'm doing that he can't do. Yeah. I'm getting there.
Yeah.
All right.
That's right.
We are reviewing From Anxious to Awesome: How to Replace Mountain Bike Anxiety with Excitement and Confidence. This is episode 2 of season 2. And really, really fun episode, and very cathartic for me personally. If anyone hasn't listened, go back and check it out. Zan at Sploosh MTB, great listener, and also rider, and also Sploosh MTB mountain bike channel, which he was just at Mount Penn. So if you haven't seen it,
that's amazing.
Go into Sploosh MTB, and he and his friends have a drone, and they are doing some big things at Mount Penn. They hit some of the big jumps, and that was pretty cool. But speaking about big downhill days and the chest protector, Zan says that he's totally sold on the chest and the back protector, that it breathes well and it gives him more confidence. So if you're going to a downhill park or shuttling, definitely get one. And Brian on a Bike, he also recommended chest protector. And I watched a Slanted Ground video with Josh, and he was talking about products that he uses, and he talked about a chest protector. There was all sorts of different ones. There was the Troy Lee Designs Rock Fight, and that's what Zan said. Josh said the Leat Riaflex. Someone else said the Fox Space Frame Pro, which is kind of like a t-shirt that's all padded up.
Oh,
and I actually went and pulled the trigger. I like the G-Form stuff. They have one called the MTB Spike Chest and Back Shirt. So weird Spike name, chest. Right?
Yeah, it sounds terrible.
Yeah, I mean, I can withstand spikes to the chest, or you think I'm gonna have a spike chest, like the old Madonna videos.
I ain't hugging that guy.
Yeah,
back off.
Look, if you want hugs, maybe take off the spiky chest protector. Yeah. It protects you from hugs.
Get a little porcupine over here. Yeah. Seriously.
Yeah. It's a weird name, but I'll let you know how it goes. I'm wearing knee pads and I'm wearing elbow pads. So hearing all these riders that I trust and believe in say, yeah, it's worthwhile and it's comfortable. I'm gonna give it a shot. I'm gonna see how it feels. So. But listeners, let us know which chest protectors or back protectors are you using? What do you recommend? Or, have you decided that maybe I will get one for the summer, for downhill and for shuttling? If you have any questions, let us know. But there's just so many out there. I'm curious what people are using. And we'll see if Sage gets interested in possibly riding one.
Yeah.
With a chest protector.
Hey, sponsors. Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll test them. We are famous for testing equipment that is used to protect you when you fall off the bike. We're the kind of riders that don't fall, but when we do, we wear chest protectors. Yeah,
that have spikes on them. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. So we'll see how that goes. Listeners, let us know what you think about the chest and back protectors and which ones you have, and if you're thinking about riding them, or e-bikers if you're using them. So Brian on a Bike also wrote, when we were talking about you not using the big gear on super steep climbs even. And Brian said, you ready for this? Big gear, enduro races. You want to save your legs for the run. So the easier that you can spin your legs, the better. Any strain steals from your race. With tech riding, I prefer bigger gears so you have some leverage behind you. Nothing worse than being in too easy of a gear and spinning out or just not getting where you want to go. So I thought that was a really good point. If you're trying to save your legs, use that big gear.
There's a difference, right? There's a difference between, like, you're saying, why weren't you using the Eagle gear when we're climbing National Trail? I'm not using Eagle Eagle gear when I'm climbing national. Why can't I speak? Eagle gear when I'm climbing national trail because it's so technical. And so for me, gear 2 is how I train, and that feels most comfortable. If we're at a place and it's just like we're riding up a fire road, we mentioned Papago. That was a little jump place. That was not one. It wasn't a huge climb, but in order to save energy, it was just a loose whatever. It wasn't nothing technical. I put it in an Eagle. So what Brian is saying is exactly what I was doing. Like if it was an Enduro race, same thing. You're usually not riding up a technical trail. It's usually like Fire Road or something like that. So yeah, I would absolutely implore the Eagle gear.
Were you riding? So just to clarify, like I'm not riding up technical sections in Eagle either. I go into Eagle when it's relatively smooth but it's steep. If it's super technical, I'm usually in 2 or 3. So but you didn't use Eagle at all, and you're using
at all.
I think 2 is like your easy gear, and then like you're mainly in 3 and 4, right? I'm not ever in 4 climbing up national. I'll tell you that right now.
I think that's the single speeder in me. I never broke that habit. You because of your training on the trainer, you have gotten used to that high cadence. I never had that. So like for me, the single speed in me is like, dude, you want to tackle the tech and be standing and getting up the stuff, which I do successfully. Like that is how I do the tech, and I do it well enough that it's not an issue. So yeah, it's just a different style, I think. But I agree totally with Brian. If you're doing an Enduro race and you don't have a technical climb, put it in the Eagle, save your legs.
Yeah, it's a great point. I just don't know that it's a different style. Like my legs start to burn out. So he says like you want to save your legs for the run on the Enduro, right? If we're climbing a technical trail and there's more downhill or there's more climbing later on, I'm trying to save my legs throughout the entire time. I could probably push it in 2 or 3, but when the faster you spin, the more you're putting that burden onto your heart and lungs instead of your legs. The harder the gear, the more it's going to be on your legs. And you're like legs aren't getting tired. I don't understand this. I think we need to have you evaluated in a lab. I think you might be you might be an alien.
Well, here's the thing though, Danny, those rides are only 12. I'm saying only, and that's not fair, but like only could be for us, we're looking at like 14 to like 16 miles, 2,000 some odd feet, sometimes even less. That's not a big ride for you and I, so it's subjective. I get that. But for you and I, that's not a big ride. So I'm not trying to save my legs for anything. And this is where your slower cadence, your higher cadence and saving your legs probably helps when we're doing a 18 to 22 or 20 plus ride.
We were riding every day. When you came out here, we were riding every day. Yeah. Like burning you got to be thinking about the next day. The next ride.
I can't explain it. I hit the roller. That's what I did. I hit the roller. No, you're right. I didn't, aside suffering that heat stroke, day 1 at Sedona, I didn't struggle. I don't think I struggled on any of the days.
No, I don't think so. You were pretty strong. Yeah. Especially, it took about a week or so for you to kind of like get in shape a little bit. But yeah, you were strong. You're coming out of the winter. You're coming out of the Northeast winter into, the Arizona spring. So yeah, you were strong. No, I just don't understand how your legs don't get more tired. It just, that kind of blows my mind. That was one of the comments that Jeff Windsor made was Sage doesn't use granny. I'm over here looking for a 13 speed. Yeah. And I'm constantly doing that. Arizona's got so much steep stuff. I'm constantly looking for another gear. We got a lot of comments. We got a lot of feedback from people that are not using the Eagle, just like you said. But I don't think they're climbing. I don't think there are climbing listeners. I think they're more of our downhill oriented listeners.
Now they'll have to let us know. A second comment on the comment.
Well, they said it. Yeah, we have to. If we go back and look more closely, I think a lot of people mentioned that they were not doing the technical climbing or they weren't into climbing and they don't ever use that gear either. Which is an interesting point for manufacturers. Like, do we need all those gears?
Yeah.
Well, we kind of like got lost in the conversation. We didn't tell everyone to rate and subscribe, but hopefully if you've been listening and you're enjoying it, go ahead and rate and subscribe and give us a thumbs up on YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, leave a comment. We love getting the comments. Certainly gratitude for all of our listeners. I don't know that we've ever had a show where we've gone from comment to gratitudes. Again, we blew right past our topic, which is great because it ended up being a really interesting conversation about group ride dynamics. And that was,
I agree. Yeah.
That was really cool. I think everyone can relate to that. What's your mountain bike gratitude of the week?
As I said, I went to PhxvBP Bike Park twice, back to back, this past week. And it was so much fun. And what makes PhxvBP so much fun is I love helping people. And because I struggled so much jumping, I find that I can relate to a lot of people that struggle at the PhxvBP Bike Park. So I find myself like just going out of my way to help people. I can't tell you how many people have come up to me afterwards and said, do you do any coaching? Like, I'd love to, it would be awesome if you did some coaching. And I'm like, nah, I don't really coach. But I started like thinking about that. And when I had dinner with Anthony, Anthony's like, why are you not doing the coaching? He's like, you love helping people. I mean, that's why we started this podcast. That's why I started my channel, Trail Sage channel. I'm like, yeah, why am I not doing the coaching? So gratitude partly goes to Anthony. The other part of the gratitude goes to Jess Bush and Shelly from the fire team, because I picked their brain, and Jess is an awesome coach. She's been coaching for a while. We'll put her Instagram down below. And I just picked her brain about like what goes into that. I don't know if I'm going to go into coaching, but she was gracious enough to give me all the insider tips and stuff like that. And same with Shelly, who has been the coach of the Fire Girls forever. I was asking her about insurance and liability stuff, and just gratitude for all those people willing to help me out. We'll see if I'll do the coaching, but yeah, that was awesome.
That's really, really cool. I think you would be a fantastic coach. I think that's makes a lot of sense for you and your personality and your passion and what you love to do. You're just going to have to sit with it and see whether or not you're inspired to do that, and if it feels right. And I know there's a lot more that goes into it than just saying, all right, I'm going to start coaching. There's investment. Yes. But yeah, and regardless of whether or not you become a formal coach or not, we are doing mindset coaching here on Ride and Laugh. And we're talking about the things that we've learned and have made our biking better and more fun, and our lives better and more fun. And being able to be at the bike park and help people have fun and feel like they're progressing. It's awesome. And that's the mountain bike community. The mountain bike community is just fantastic. Yeah. Really cool.
Yeah. Agreed. Yep. Oh, Danny, what's your gratitude?
Well, my mountain bike gratitude of the week is, and I've been wearing these shoes for quite a while. They're the PhxvBP Union shoes. They have a BOA closure system. And before that, I was really kind of married to the Shimano shoes. And I think when I was buying these Fox shoes, the Shimano shoes were just very expensive. And I decided to try something else, and they got pretty good reviews. And I got to say, I really like the shoes. I got the color that was on sale, which is why if you see any videos, I'm wearing red shoes. But
red's putting it politely.
I've learned to just go with it. Like when it comes to mountain biking and the color of the jersey, the color of the shirt, like almost everything I own was gifted to me, by my wife or a friend or something like that. And I'm not someone who does matches clothes real well. Like oftentimes I'll tell my wife, I ask my wife, like, does this go? I think when I came and stayed with you for a week, I was like, dude, does this go? Does this go? Like, I'm it's like pretty typical, dumbass male when it comes to that. But getting back to the shoes, I found them to be very comfortable. I find them to be stiff enough to pedal in. I find them to be comfortable enough to walk around in. If you're walking around and checking out features, it's a good enduro shoe.
Yes.
It's got the BOA closure system, which we were always nervous about committing to because it can break. And, the last thing you want on the trail is a shoe mechanical. But they got the system dialed in pretty well. I have hit the BOA dials with rocks, and they pop out, and you can pop them back in. So I have not had a shoe mechanical failure on a ride except for one, and that was my fault because I crashed and I slid on the shoe, and the BOA did break, and I was able to salvage it for that ride, but the BOA has a lifetime guarantee. And so I just took a picture of it, and I went onto the BOA website, and they asked me what kind of shoe it was, and they sent me a replacement. And it was a little bit of a hassle to replace it, but totally worked. So I'm like pretty impressed by the whole package. So the Fox Union shoe, listeners, let us know if you ride these shoes or if you have a shoe that you love. What's your favorite mountain bike shoe? And have you tried the BOA system? What do you think of it?
Well, you mentioned that the Shimano shoes were getting too pricey. How much were the Fox shoes?
I want to say I got them maybe for, I'm going to think ballpark, maybe 140, which I think is reasonable for like a pair of mountain bike shoes that I'm going to keep for. I wear my shoes out. How long do you keep your shoes? I feel like I wear my shoes out. I get pretty much a season. I mean, Jeff Windsor's wearing shoes he's had for 3 years.
Yeah.
But maybe he's not crashing or walking around as much as me, right?
He doesn't dab. So
those shoes clip in and they stay clipped in. They just stay spinning around. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. No, and he doesn't crash. And you and I, we're walking all over the place where we're crashing, and shoes have to hold up to a lot. So
yeah. Are we harder on our shoes?
I'm definitely very hard on my shoes because I walk a lot of features. I'm definitely
you wear them out. Yes.
Stuff. I definitely push the limits whenever I can, and I'm getting off my bike and walking and doing stuff like that. So
listeners, let us know, how long are you keeping your shoes? How long do shoes last? Mountain bike shoes typically, and what do you think is a reasonable price? Because I feel like 140 is kind of like a kind of a sweet spot. It's a lot, but it is you're looking for a high performance shoe. But I'm seeing shoes over $200 like routinely now.
Yeah, I'm so glad that you found a shoe because I'm always looking for new shoes, and the Fox sounds like it's pretty awesome. I probably wouldn't get the hot pink, but
it's a very manly dark maroon. Does such a thing exist? It's a very masculine rouge color, if you will. It's a very masculine rouge. Yes.
Oh yeah.
Said no one ever. Let's call it a zesty black. Let's call it a zesty black. Okay.
Well, you make them look good, my friend. Well, it's funny that you brought up your BOA and fixing your BOA, because my mountain bike tip, I had a mechanical at the Phoenixville Bike Park. It wasn't with my shoe. It was actually with my bike. But the mountain bike tip is save all your bolts. I have a tackle box in my van, famously, and there are bolts from I save everything. I save all the little bolts for everything. And I had lost one of the, I guess there's a little bolt that holds my a hanger. It's not the typical bolt that you would think of. And it was a very odd size. And I was like, oh man, the fat bike's out. I was like, you know what? Let me go up to the van and see if I got a bolt. I rummaged through the tackle box, just happened to have a screw that would fit this thing. And I was just like, eureka. That is my mountain bike tip. Try not to throw away everything. There are certain things that you probably should hold on to. I like to keep a bunch of different size bolts. It doesn't take a lot of space. I keep them in a little baggie, and they're just great. You just have spares. I've broken cleats on my shoes. The cleats they'll fall out. I have spare cleat bolts, and they've come in handy so many times. You broke your BOA. Sometimes you can have a screw that would fix that. Who knows? I'm just saying it's worked out.
So what you're saying is you're encouraging everyone to be a mountain bike hoarder like you. Save everything. Don't throw anything away. I've seen that show, Hoarders. I've never seen a part where they're someone needs something and the hoarder's like, I actually have that because I've been saving everything. Hoarding never works out. But mountain bike hoarding is different. Mountain bike hoarding is usually you're being prepared. You're keeping things.
Yep.
I think that's a great idea. Keep a little box, keep a little toolbox or a little tackle box, and you just have all these different bolts. And there's so many proprietary and weird bolts in mountain biking. And it's cool to just be able to, I think I have something like that. I know that you actually hoard more mountain bike parts than most people. You have all sorts of things in the back of that van.
I do. Yeah. I will keep a spare of, and when I wear out something, then I'll throw the spare that I had out, and then I'll have a new spare. So a derailleur is a great example of this. If I get a new derailleur, I'll take the old one off and save that old derailleur, and I have the new derailleur. I got to tell you, I've taken jockey wheels. I saved Rob the other ride that we did, and Rob broke a jockey wheel. I just happened to have a jockey wheel because I'm a hoarder. But dude, it comes in handy, man. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's like a treasure chest of used mountain bike stuff in the back of that van.
Yeah,
I'll tell you another tip, and this is a little bit. This is different. Actually, it's a completely different tip. But my mountain bike tip is when you get that new pair of shoes, take the old shoes and put them in your trunk. So when you forget something like shoes, your old helmet goes in the trunk. The old shoes go in the trunk. I have like a little case that I keep. Sometimes I take that out of the car, and so it's possible I could forget that. But it's got a tire, it's got my old pair of shoes, and maybe gloves, maybe a change of clothes, but definitely like so many people. And now I will be collecting and keeping bolts with me. Yes. Yeah. So many people. Everyone knows a story of someone that got to the trailhead or has done it themselves without shoes. So
yeah, absolutely.
That
it was a double tick, but it was actually a tip 1A and B. Yeah, like what we're saying is save your old stuff. You don't have to. Yeah, you're still hoarding.
Yes, you're still hoarding. Exactly, it still goes into the spirit of the tip. Yes. You're still not getting rid of anything. You're still keeping everything.
Yes. There we go. Danny.
All right. If you're still listening, you are definitely one of us. You love mountain biking. We appreciate you. Please rate and subscribe on your podcast player. Please give us a thumbs up on YouTube. Please send us a comment. Watch to the end. Watch time matters. We have super thanks now, so you can give a donation to the Ride and Laugh if you're enjoying us. We appreciate that. And Ride and Laugh 1 at Gmail. If you want to send us pictures of your bikes or anything else that's cool, or you want to send us a long form email, go for it. We try to respond to everything. We super appreciate all of our listeners. We're having a great time. Vibes are high. Everyone have a fantastic week and a great week of riding. Ride and laugh.
I'll see you, everyone.